Welcome back. Welcome back. It's Don McKay in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Here on the show, we deliver the biggest political and news stories of the day with interviews, original reporting from across the country. Don McKay in the morning is upbeat and fun, but I also want to expose what is really happening in America. So, a lot to get into today. Joe Biden, President Biden, yesterday launching an airstrike on Syria that targeted facilities used by Iran-backed militia groups. This is the first military action taken by the Biden administration. So the Pentagon said that the strike was in retaliation for a February 15th rocket attack against a U.S. military base. Right, killed a U.S.-led coalition contractor, left others wounded, including an American service member. So President Biden trying to send a message early on in his, term. I am confident in the target that we went after. We know what we hit. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin told reporters about this airstrike. He said that he was confident that the target was being used by the same Shia militants that conducted the February 15th strike. So he tried to send a message back. Was this a civilian target? I mean, they said that this was something that supported the militants. So it probably was a civilian target. They said that there probably were civilian casualties. I mean, you can never be too sure when doing something like this. You don't know who's going to be in there, who's going to be in the building. So 2 days after the February 15th strike, a base hosting U.S. forces in north of Baghdad was targeted in another rocket attack, wounding at least one contractor. So as these rocket attacks have continued, maybe they are testing out to see what Joe Biden is about, see if he's going to take any action against things that they do. And it appears that Biden is saying, hey, yeah, we're going to take some action. They're still trying to get them to the table. They're still trying to negotiate with them. It's so interesting how you're trying to negotiate with people, yet, you're throwing rockets back and forth. Tensions that you remember boiled over under the Trump administration, leading to the U.S. killing of Soleimani back in January. Iran then retaliated with a ballistic missile attack against U.S. forces in Iraq. So it's a lot of back and forth. We were on the verge of war with Iran not that long ago. So a lot of people in the know saying that this is a proportionate military response. That's what they're saying. Proportionate military response. What's going to happen here? We're going to keep our eye on this. Something tells me that this is not the end of the exchange of missiles back and forth between Iran and the U.S. So the U.S. strike, they're saying in Syria that we're talking about, it has killed one, wounded several, but that's no surprise. Like I said, I mean, you just never can tell with these type of things. So we're talking about this this U.S. airstrike in Syria, targeted facilities that are belonging to Iranian-backed Iraqi armed groups, militants, militiamen, right? That's what they're saying. But we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna keep our eyes on this, see where this goes. Joe Biden and his administration acting very quickly. The U.S. in the past has targeted facilities in Syria, so this is not new. And like I said, I don't think that this is the end of this. U.S. forces have been significantly reduced in the region in Iraq to 2,500 personnel and no longer partake in combat missions with Iraqi forces in the ongoing operations against the Islamic State groups. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. So if you are just tuning in, Don McKay in the morning, new episodes of the program drop Monday through Friday, 8 a.m., but I don't want you to miss any of our live broadcasts. In addition to our 8 a.m. program, we drop content throughout the day as news happens. So hit that notification bell so you get an alert anytime we go live. Because like I said, I don't want you to miss it. Because as things go, I will jump on here and talk about it. So another thing, we talk about a no-go. The House is set to vote on the virus bill. It just appears that this $15 an hour minimum wage increase, it appears that that's not going to happen. Democrats are ready to push this $1.9 trillion COVID-19 relief package through the House today. Despite the setback, that means that, the raise, the minimum wage increase is not going to be on the final version that reaches the president's desk. No surprise there. Voting across party lines. Republicans, of course, oppose this measure. Why would you think that Republicans would want to give Americans a raise as it relates to the minimum wage? Why would you think that? Because they're good. And then they're going to tell their supporters, they got two supporters. You have the business community. They're like, oh, no. And then you have, regular blue collar folk. The Republicans, the business community, has convinced everyone that they cannot afford to pay $15 an hour, even though their profits are high right now. They can afford it. They've always been able to afford it. But they convince people or trick people into believing that they can't. But it's really that they won't. They could. Biden says that he's a supporter of the $15 an hour wage increase. He's not going to stick his neck out for it. He's not going to stick his neck out for it. But he says that he is a supporter of it. It's too bad. It would have been nice, but no. That's how President Biden is looking at it. It says he's very disappointed. Very disappointed. He's going to work with leaders in Congress, allegedly, to determine the best path forward. Best path forward is give him a raise, right? So they want $15. I think that they could agree somewhere below that. But it takes courage. It takes courage. And I'm just not sure that the Democrats are willing to show their courage right now. I don't feel it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, at The Don McKay Show, at Radio on Fire. Let's do this. Take a quick break. Come back with more of the program after this. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network streaming from our production facilities in Baltimore and Atlanta. We're able to broadcast programs like The Don McKay Show because of our listeners and some amazing partners like The Lifestyle Secrets, Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? Well, more than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as you're continuing to age, the goal is to experience as few aches and pains as possible while staying mobile. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that by providing a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members to communicate naturally with their bodies. DLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos, natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers today. And I encourage you to shop with all the companies that support Radio on Fire. Before we get back to the show, have you ever had a NutriBurst liquid vitamin? This stuff tastes great, and they say it's great for you. NutriBurst liquid vitamin. Now, my girl Moochie told me about this, and me and Moochie go way back. She said, Diamond K, you have got to try this. So I asked Moochie, what's so special about NutriBurst liquid vitamin? What makes it so good? Then she gave me the rundown. Check this out. 72 minerals, 10 vitamins, 22 phytonutrients, 19 amino acids, 13 whole vegetables, and 20 herbs. Get your NutriBurst liquid vitamin today at totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. That's totallifechanges.com/mymoochie. Tell them Radio on Fire sent you.
Giving you more talk, more news, and more music. It's Radio on Fire.
This pandemic has really sped up what was already happening. The world has become even more digital. Folks are on their computers, their tablets, their phones, all the time. This is where people go to get their information. Here at Radio on Fire, our target listener is 23 to 54 years old. So business owners, I know times are hard, but I also know how important it is to get in front of your customers. Advertise your business, product, service, or event on Diamond K in the Morning or any of the other Radio on Fire programs. We have an affordable package for you. Visit radioonfire.com/advertise to get started. Again, radioonfire.com/advertise. We'd love to connect with you. It's Diamond K in the Morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Diamond K in the Morning is now available on the WRF Radio app. Simply download WRF Radio on your app store, and leave me a comment. You can scroll your timeline, attend Zoom meetings on mute, or do some online shopping and listen to Diamond K in the Morning. Last night in Baltimore, police fatally shoot a suspect in downtown Baltimore. The person, I'm tongue-tied here. A person suspected to have been shot downtown last night by officers died at the hospital. Police Commissioner Michael Harrison said. City police said that they were investigating a police-involved shooting in the 600 block of Lombard Street in Baltimore. The commissioner said that two officers with the Inner Harbor unit, did you know that we had an Inner Harbor unit, were flagged down around 9:20 in the area of Market and Pratt Street, where a non-fatal shooting occurred. Here comes the spin. Harrison said one officer stayed with the victim to render aid while multiple officers in the area pursued a perpetrator who fled into the Harbor Park garage. Harrison said that they believe the perpetrator is the shooter responsible in the non-fatal shooting. So the officers gave chase to that suspect in the garage, and while ordering that the suspect place his hands in the air while on the ramp of the garage, They say that the suspect turned around, produced a handgun, and attempted to fire that gun. What we believe right now is that the handgun misfired and multiple officers fired at the suspect. Is that right? I'd like to see the body camera footage. Anybody? Well, we'll see. Because I think that we actually have some. The perpetrator died at the hospital. Harrison said he, along with the mayor and investigators, reviewed the body-worn camera video that showed what transpired. He said that the handgun was recovered at the scene. This is another example of our police officers being where they're supposed to be, being engaging, doing their job, being folks who rush to the scene of violence and render aid and try to apprehend a suspect through to be involved in those acts of violence. That is what the mayor said. Of course, according to the Fraternal Order of Police, it did not appear that any officers were injured. So that's what they're saying. They're saying that the police body camera footage allegedly backs up the story. And, of course, multiple officers firing and killing this man. What else did you expect? What we didn't try to shoot him. His gun misfired. And I guess that because he had the gun, of course, they could, shoot him up. When you want to talk to him, what happened to? Maybe this only happens on TV now. They want to actually apprehend the person and talk to him. They don't do that anymore now. It's just unless you're, invading the Capitol, then all of a sudden, you can just do whatever you want and go home. But there's no doubt in my mind that this was a black man. No doubt. I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that this is a black man. Just tuning in, Don McKay in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Many Maryland schools are set to reopen to students on Monday. Many students going back. Some of Maryland's most populous districts are set to welcome students back for in-person instruction, marking the start of the varying local plans in response to Governor Larry Hogan's push to reopen schools by March the 1st. He's been talking about that for a little while, several weeks. Maryland had the lowest percentage of in-person instruction operating in the nation at 10%. So that number is drastically going to rise when Montgomery County, Anne Arundel County, Howard County, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Howard County bring some of their students back to school next week. Prince George's County became the final school district in the state to submit a reopening plan. They did that early last week, and they're going to bring their students back in April. So schools will start with some grade levels, gradually bringing in more over the following weeks. Students can still choose to attend school virtually only. So we're going to see how that is. Maryland is one of the 35 states where teacher strikes are illegal. Did you know that? Teachers with health concerns regarding COVID-19 exposure should be specifically accommodated regarding the safety and the reopening efforts, according to the CDC. Roughly half of in-person instruction is open across the country. So Maryland joining on with that. My thing is this, I'm concerned that the school system cannot safely conduct in-person learning. They can't keep heat on, any kind of air. You got to send, pencils and tissues and other stuff. other stuff like that. I just foresee them soon saying that you're gonna need to send hand sanitizer and soap, tissue with your kids. They want to wash hands. I've been in schools. I didn't see any soap in the bathroom. I didn't see any. And so unless they've turned all this around, and I just don't think that they have effectively identified and demonstrated that they can do that. Yes, I know we want kids to get back to school, and we do, but we also want them to do this safely. And with the limited staff that they have, they're complaining they can't even teach the students that they have. So now with the added responsibility of maintaining social distancing and safety precautions with regards to COVID-19, this is a task. Well, I guess they got degrees, right? They should be able to do this. This should be easy. We'll see. We will definitely see. Don McKay in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. Governor Larry Hogan, speaking of Governor Larry Hogan, has expressed optimism. He toured the vaccination site at M&T Bank Stadium. We talked about this. Hundreds of COVID-19 vaccines made it into arms yesterday as the state's third mass vaccination site opened. M&T Bank Stadium, that's the Ravens Stadium for folks out of town. Downtown Baltimore. So the governor toured the stadium shortly after it opened yesterday morning. Maryland's newest COVID-19 mass vaccination site. This was a somewhat soft launch. They claim that everything's going smoothly, quickly. They're going to ramp up to a couple thousand vaccines a day. In a couple of days, that is what they plan to do. Capacity of up to 10,000 shots per day. That's how high they can go. So the site is a public-private partnership between the University of Maryland Medical System, putting shots into arms, and support coming also from the Maryland Air National Guard. So about 200 folks received a Pfizer shot yesterday. The governor also expressed some optimism, speaking about the Baltimore-made one-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine that is awaiting emergency use authorization. Now, you know how I feel about the emergency use authorization. The emergency use authorization, EUA, completely absolves these manufacturers from liability. The government as well. What do I mean by that? Let me break that down. This means that something happens to you as a result of taking the vaccine, they are not liable. You can't sue them, right? Because it wasn't approved. This is for emergencies, emergency purposes only. Yeah. So that right there makes me uncomfortable. But if you want to get a vaccine, by all means, that's what you should do. So if you want to make an appointment at the M&T Bank Stadium, individuals must complete a new registration specifically for the M&T Bank Stadium mass vaccination site. Now, this is going to offer vaccinations to those who are eligible in phases 1A, 1B, and 1C. Eligible individuals have two options for making these appointments. They can complete an order form at covidvax.maryland.gov, covidvax.maryland.gov. You can also call 855-MD-GO-VAX or 855-634-6829 to request an appointment. So representatives are available 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. and individuals should expect extremely long wait times on the phone due to call volume. Vaccinations, very important. Vaccinations will be made by appointment only. No walk-ups. They are not feeling no walk-ups. And people are getting appointments, who get an appointment rather, for the COVID-19 vaccine at M&T Bank Stadium. Enter at Gate A, aka the first gate, the main gate. But if you are taking the vaccine, you have taken the vaccine, I am anxious to talk to you or hear about your experience. And just because I'm not getting the vaccine right now doesn't mean that you shouldn't get vaccine if that's what you're trying to do. That's what you want to do. By all means. By all means. All right. A lot going on this weekend. And I believe that we're going to have several broadcasts this weekend. No, I'm not going to tell you what they are right now. But we're going to get into a few other topics before we get out of here. Not sure if you knew this, but Kanye West spent over $12 million of his own money on a presidential campaign. A very ill-advised presidential campaign. Of course, Kanye recently in the news after it has been documented that Kim K filing for divorce. This just doomed marriage coming to an end. Sources close to the rapper say that he feels his 2020 presidential run cost him his marriage. Man, he's a bigger fool than I thought. If that's what he thinks it was, no, he caused it. And whether he ran for president or not, it still was on the path to be over. They were living apart. He's an idiot. All of that. So some of the things that he said during the presidential campaign, the fact that he spent $12 million of his own money itself, I just think that he would have been better served doing something else, right? Kanye can't be the president. Could have been a council person. Could have run for governor, or mayor, something, reasonable. But this is part of the problem of the Donald Trump experiment. Folks who have notoriety, but no possible path to victory think that they can run because he ran and became president. So a report from the Federal Election Commission say that West reportedly spent $13.2 million on the run, with $12.5 million coming out of his own pocket. So nobody believed in him because it wasn't really possible. The FEC said that Kanye West spent $7.5 million on fees that were related to getting his name on the ballot in different states, and over $210,000 for a 2-page ad in the New York Times. Along with that, Kanye West dropped $918,130 1 week out from the election on campaign apparel. See how his mind is in the wrong places. Kanye thinks the answer to everything is, let's get some clothes. We need clothes. He raised over $2 million in outside donations, but his efforts were not enough for him to achieve his goal. As if you didn't know that. Kanye West struggled to make the ballots in various states and only got 66,000 votes nationally. So here's my thing. If he was going to spend this kind of money, which this is not enough money to win a presidential election, but if he was going to do this, he should have done this earlier to really be taken serious as a candidate. Just because you have money clearly doesn't mean a damn thing, because it's not only about having money. It is about what you spend that money on. What you spend that money on. Very important. So UPS removes Too Short and E40 music video over copyright infringement. So there is a music video that the guys had. They dropped the video for the song Ain't Gonna Do It, which features E40 and Too Short. They have a double release called Ain't Gonna Do It / Terms and Conditions. And the video features the rappers in the United Pimping Services. They should have wrote that out. They tried to change it up with the, so it's a UPS and they have the S as a $sign. And they thought that was enough to avoid the copyright infringement. It was not. So they have these uniforms on that makes it appear like they're UPS employees, Too Short delivering, while E40 acts as a supervisor speaking on the video. Too Short says that it's always a party and a good vibe. When you have E40 and I together, you experienced it on Versus, you felt it on our joint album, and you're seeing it in this video. We really wanted to make a visual that would entertain people and keep positive energy going. It was not long before UPS, the United Parcel Service, had the video taken down. They just need to blur that out and re-upload it. But that is there's no surprise there with that. That's just how they roll. Also in the news, Mike Tyson is calling for a boycott of Hulu. Yep. Iron Mike doesn't want you to watch Hulu because of this announcement that they have an Iron Mike series. The boxing great took to social media yesterday to call for this boycott of the streaming platform after it announced a new mini-series that they're airing called Iron Mike. Hulu's announcement to do an unauthorized mini-series of the Tyson story without compensation, although unfortunate, is not surprising, he wrote on Instagram. This announcement on the heels of social disparities in our country is a prime example of how Hulu, their corporate greed, led to this tone-deaf cultural misappropriation of the Tyson story. To make this announcement during Black History Month only confirms Hulu's concerns for dollars over the respect of Black story rights. They do unauthorized documentaries in just in the entertainment industry all the time. And I never understood why more fuss was not made. And of course, it being a public figure, there are just some things that come with the territory. And unfortunately, this is different than the Chappelle situation. Because, like I said, they do unauthorized documentaries often. Now, in the Dave Chappelle situation, Dave Chappelle had an agreement with Comedy Central, for the show to be on Comedy Central, on DVDs, etc. And then years later, Comedy Central licensing it to Netflix and others. There was an agreement in place there. And that is why Dave Chappelle voiced his concern, and they worked it out. Now, in this situation, Mike Tyson did not have a agreement, it appears. Did not have an agreement. And Iron Mike was created by an Oscar-winning writer named Steve Rogers. It's going to take a look at the tumultuous, polarizing, and exhilarating moments in the life of Mike Tyson. So it would be better, and I don't know why they did not reach out to Mike. I mean, he would have probably participated in it. And I think that what's going to happen is they're probably going to work something out, because it just makes sense, especially with him bringing this to light. And hopefully more instances like this will happen. But Many people don't understand. I mean, there are unauthorized documentaries of Jay-Z, of Beyonce, of whoever, plenty of people. So this is not something that is out of the ordinary. He is a public figure. So while I sympathize and empathize with Mike Tyson, I think that it's better to work this out for Hulu and for Mike Tyson. But I don't want people to get this false impression that you can just you're a public figure, right? So they do documentaries on Trump, on the president, on anybody, right? Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather. But we're going to see how this goes. I hope that he understands that. Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radio on fire.com. Also, yesterday, a former U.S. gymnastics coach dead by suicide. Some sexual assault charges are probably to blame here. The former Team USA coach, John Jadirk, committed suicide, self-inflicted gunshot wound yesterday afternoon. This, of course, coming after he was charged with 20 counts of human trafficking, 2 counts of sexual assault, 1 count of racketeering, and 1 count of lying to a peace officer. He was the coach for the 2012 games in London, right? Gabby Douglas was on that team, among others. Disgraced Dr. Larry Nassar was the doctor for the 2012 gymnastics team. He also treated gymnasts in the Michigan gym, which was owned by the now deceased coach and his wife until they sold it just earlier this month. Prosecutors claim that the coach lied to authorities in 2016 when they were investigating the disgraced doctor, as he claimed that he had never heard any complaints about the doctor. In 2018, the disgraced Dr. Nassar was sentenced to 40 to 175 years for sexually abusing underage girls. And I'm sure if they do an unauthorized documentary, quote unquote, on that coach, he's not going to sue. You know, when you see stuff on Dateline and all these are documentaries. Sometimes the people cooperate, sometimes they don't. You know, I would say we reached out to such and such for a comment, and they had no comment, right? Because these are public situations, and it, that's just how it works. Now, if you have agreement with somebody and then you try to alter the agreement, then you got a case. So there's just differences. There's just differences. Just tuning in, Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radio on fire.com. Over 50,000 pounds of cocaine worth billions were reportedly seized. Authorities in collaboration with German and Belgium authorities seized this large cocaine drug bust. Despite the massive scale of the operation, authorities only arrested one 28-year-old in the Netherlands whose name and address was on the shipment. So they were operating from a tip from the Netherlands. German authorities in the port city of Hamburg searching a shipping center. There's this shipping container marked for moving construction putty. Now, upon the investigation, it was discovered that 1,728 cans of construction putty actually contain cocaine. And The Belgian authorities discovered another 15,873 pounds of cocaine in a container transporting wood. Never before has so much cocaine been intercepted at one time, said the Dutch police in a statement. So, wow, they were, that is cocaine. Big bust there. So, I wonder what's going to happen to that cocaine. I mean, I know they took it from the guy. What's going to happen to it now? Where's it going to go? Nobody's going to know. It's just going to go out by, some other means. Last thing I want to touch on today, and it's just I guess it's just one of those things where people are just after money. Smells like an inside job, somebody that knows her. But the dog walker of Lady Gaga, right? She's got some French bulldogs. She's somewhere else working on film project. But there was a Hollywood dog walker, or the man was shot while he was walking her bulldogs. 2 of these bulldogs were stolen, and the one other dog got away. So dog walkers are ramping up security after this situation happened. So Lady Gaga's dog walker shot. Guy stands over him, shoots him. She's offered a large reward for these dogs. And just shows you how much she values them. $500,000 for the return of these dogs. You don't normally hear stuff like this happening, even to celebrities. So someone had to know that she was going to pay big money for these dogs. All the owners insist that they will continue to walk the high-demand French bulldogs despite this crime. So she's not the only one that has these exotic dogs. The dog walker, Lady Gaga's dog walker, Ryan Fisher, is thankfully recovering well at a hospital. Shot this guy over these dogs. I mean, my thing is this. Somebody comes out, produces a gun, wants your dog, or wants the dog of your employer. You ain't got to shoot me. Here, take the dogs. Here, you want them? Here, you want the bag to pick up the poop too? Here. Why do you have to get shot over these dogs? It's crazy. But that's what happened. And like I said, I'm calling this is someone that is in her circle. You see the movie Paid in Full? You know what I mean? It's just like somebody in the circle. Yep. Well, just tuning in, your man Diamond K in the morning. FBI involved now in this dog napping probe. They're gonna find the pooches. It's gonna happen. Hopefully, it won't take too long. I will be back throughout the day as news happens, as things unfold. So definitely stay tuned. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our live streams throughout the day. Of course, here on the show, we deliver the biggest political and news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting coming from across the country. Diamond K in the morning is fun, is upbeat. But I also want to expose what is happening in America. New episodes of the program drop Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. But as I said, don't miss any of our live broadcasts. You just hit that notification bell so you get an alert when we go live. Diamond K in the morning on the all-new radioonfire.com. And we're also available on the WRF radio app. Simply tune in by downloading the WRF radio app in your app store. Leave me a comment scroll your timeline, attend Zoom meetings on mute, right? I'm gonna get anybody in trouble. Or do some online shopping, whatever it is on the internet, and listen to Diamond K in the morning at the same time. At the same damn time. Breaking news, adult conversations covering topics that are important to the Black culture. Visit radioonfire.com for our original podcast and radio and TV programs. Now, if you want to support the show, Diamond K in the morning, you can do that very easily via Cash App, $ DJ Diamond K, or on PayPal, djdiamondk@gmail.com. You can do that, or as I said, visit radioonfire.com.